So here, I want to ask some, in my mind, they're questions that I think the audience that's watching this might have. And where are these names coming from? Is this me taking my existing database and putting it in the system? Is this me pulling some lists off Reonomy or CoStar and putting it into the system? We've got so many federal laws out there about texting. We got so many federal laws about calling. Talk to me about a lot of those things, because these fines are steep.
Yes, no, absolutely. And so there's a lot of compliance around, yes, calling and especially texting. So the way that most of our users are using, like, say the mass text messaging right now is, say you have sold shopping centers in South Florida for the last 20 years. You've got a long list of buyers, of clients that you've worked with. You're about to take something online. You're about to take something to market. It is incredibly tough to cut through the noise of an email inbox. So now you can take it to their cell phone and then send them a text that way. Hey, we're about to take this property live. Click here to check out the brochure before it hits the market, sort of thing. So that is a way to sell the current listings. And then we've got some other strategies for procuring new listings or filling vacant space, whatever that may be. But yes, for most of our folks, they are importing data into our platform because we like to think of the business in like 3 chunks. So we're in the bulk, in the middle of the business, which is managing your contacts, the properties in your database, the deals in your database, and then also prospecting for new deals. Like, that's really where we're at, is in the middle. But the precursor before that is going to be the data side of the business, which you mentioned before. So this is the data side of the business. And then after that is more the manage and close, more the transaction management software that you'll see. But we're hanging out here in the middle for now. I think in the future we'll attack that and be a full service to commercial real estate brokers. But for right now, like, we want to be really dangerous at the middle portion, and like I said, really help brokers reinvent prospecting and start to put a lot more deals in their pipeline.
Absolutely, and this is, you touched on something a little bit ago, and I want to bring it back up because I speak to commercial brokers and agents all over the country on a daily basis. Earlier today, I was on calls with 3 different ones that are new into this industry, right? And there's not a lot of education. There's not a lot of training, and it depends on what brokerage you land at, what internal education and training that they do have. But a lot of these older mentors, let's call them the old guys, so to speak, that haven't evolved. They're still working off that Excel spreadsheet. And so they haven't, brought technology into their business. There's so many more ways. People look at me and they go, how on earth do you have 76 commercial listings, right? Because they're, that's a lot in the business. That's a lot. And it spans across the United States. It's not just in one local area. It's not in one state. It's all over the United States and outside of the US. But that's exactly why, is because we embraced technology years ago, utilizing the CRMs, making sure that all the leads that were coming in from that marketing money that we were spending, that we captured them and started building these lists. Hospitality, restaurants, whatever the case might be. And so that's what I'm excited about with your software, is loading these lists in and communicating with them in a different way that we haven't done yet. And that is, are they ready to sell now? Because look, these people were looking to buy, they were looking for expansion. It might have been 10 years ago that they gave us their information. They might be looking to exit now.
Yeah. No, you're exactly right. And the way that we've broken it down, and we believe the psychology of sellers, there's really only 2 ways that somebody will sell with a broker. It really breaks down to 2 things. One is that the timing is right. And 2 is that you're top of mind. You're the first person they think of. And this was a lesson I learned earlier on as I was bringing up a younger guy in the business. And I had called this one property owner, I don't know, 5 times over 3 years or so. and he just would never take a meeting with me, very hard to break through. And then I bring on a young guy on the team and start to raise him up in the business. And like I don't know, the second week he got on the phones, the third week he got on the phones, he was still in college. He was an intern with us. He got on the phones, but he set a meeting with this guy. And he told me the name, he told me the property address, and I was like, no way.
What the?
Yeah, I was just like, in ego, ego immediately was the first thing to come, was just like, he's not better than me on the phones. Like, I taught him everything he knows. Like, how did this happen? But really, it was just timing, right? So like the timing was right. And that, if that's the reason that, sellers will choose brokers for an assignment, is the timing is right, or they think of them first, then what that means is that you have to prospect so consistently, but then also you have to provide value through your prospecting to make sure that those two things are satisfied, right? Because if you send them something every single month, then your chances of the timing being right is incredibly high. But also you don't want to become spammy. And there's a tension there, which, we really try and handle well. But, if you're providing incredible value with transaction reports, rent surveys, OPEX analysis, whatever it may be, if you're providing these things throughout your, drip or sequenced campaign, then like, not only you're hitting them all the time, so the timing is right, but then also hopefully the first person you think of is like, man, that guy, that gal, like they really know the market. They've provided a ton of value. That's my first phone call.
Well, look, when you're out of sight, you are out of mind. I mean, residential agents, realtors have said this forever, right? If they don't continuously market to their past clients, some other dude or gal is going to list that home, right? It's the same thing in commercial real estate. And you're right. That guy wasn't better than you. He just hit him at that right time. Something triggered it. Something happened, maybe whatever the case might be. But you're right. Bringing them value on market reports, offering to evaluate their property to see, what's your appreciation rate? I mean, I do something that this works. And I do this. I've got a partner out in California. I'm in Kentucky for those that don't know, but doing business everywhere. I've got a partner out in California, and we do what's called health checks for people, because you'd be surprised at how many well-off people with these large portfolios of real estate have not really paid attention to what their property managers are doing with their real estate. And we find it all the time where we just offer to take a look at what's going on. And then all of a sudden we're getting listings because it's time to get rid of those properties and get into something else. They're in a declining market, or, I mean, if they're in California, you know what, what to do.
It's ugly out there.
But I mean, there's just so many options by doing that. But yeah, the communication effort.